Hello, everybody. Anthony Kent's here. You may know me as the gentleman who started the petition uh, with 2.5 million signatures to recount the entire presidential election. It's making great headway. It's doing wonderful things. We're making progress, making connections, making things happen. Certain things are happening in states as they should be. What I wanted to touch on today was more of a lead up to the 2020 election, how we actually got to the position that we are currently at. So if you go back months and months ago, March, which seems like 10 years ago to anybody who's been living through the current situation with COVID and all that fun stuff, I know we're all tired of hearing about it, but COVID plays a very integral part into how the Democrats have brought about the cheating that has gone on during the 2020 election. You can call it fraud, cheating, whatever you want to. It all breaks down to they were aware of what was happening, they planned what was happening, and they used this pandemic to create a situation of fear where people were afraid to go to the polls, so they were mailing in their ballots. If you look back on the months and months that we've been going through the COVID, it's always been the Democrats primarily that are pushing for higher standards of wearing masks, of not gathering in groups, of not being around other people, isolation, quarantine, whatever you want to call it. They've been the ones pushing it because they wanted to garner the fear leading into this presidential election. They knew there was no other way that they could possibly win than by getting the mail-in votes. And it's not even a principle of how many mail-in votes they get or got. It is a principle of the fact that if they got any, they could then adjust those numbers to fit where they needed to be. They didn't know as of election night how many votes they were going to have to beat Donald Trump by, but they most certainly did by the next day when we noticed all of the votes slowly trickling in for Joe Biden, supposedly official votes, doubtfully so. There's, I'm sure, many news outlets that will claim that this is completely baseless, that everything happened as it should happen. That's false. We've seen it proven time and time again, and it will continue to be proven. They're pushing their false narrative. At this point, a lot of them are scared of what's happening because the American people, the silent majority, is no longer being silent. We're standing up. We're saying this is not right. This is not what we're going to stand for. We're not going to allow this to happen to our country. You work for us. We don't work for you. And we are going to make sure that our election process is valid, is legitimate, is not rigged in any way. And when we speak on what we want by going to the polls and voting, we expect that be respected and that they not falsify any type of documents to change the outcome of the election. This has been going on for 6 months. Really, it's been going on for 3+ years in the push to get Donald Trump out of office in any way they possibly could. This is their Hail Mary, if you will. They knew no better way to get Donald Trump out of office than to garner the support for the mandates that they put in place for the pandemic. And they used that mandate and the fear that they garnered to push the mail-in ballots that they could then manipulate to make sure that their nominee, whomever it was, won. And when it was Joe Biden, we've all seen the clips, we've all seen the mistakes, the ongoing. I'm not here to make fun of anybody, but let's be real. How can this gentleman get more votes than any presidential candidate in the history of the United States? Granted, there's more people, there's more registered voters, but this is a gentleman who half the time didn't even know that he was running for president of the United States. Let's get real, people. This is something that has really happened. This is why, or at least part of the reason why the petition was started. We need to continue to push the petition. We need to get the signatures. We need to get to the Supreme Court. We need to let all the governors in all these states know that we know that there's fraud potentially taking place, and if they want to bet on the safe side, they need to recount their votes. They need to go through hand by hand. Long process, I know, but they need to go through hand by hand and look at those votes and make sure that those votes are coming from legitimate sources. They need the transparency and the overwatch of the people who are in there to observe, and the observers need to have the freedom to check the things that they need to check. This is all really simple stuff that now is all complicated because the Democrats do not want Trump to have 4 more years. They want to push him out of office in any way they can see fit. That's my thoughts on it at this current point. We are still pushing. I've contacted senators, I've contacted governors, I've been in contact with news sources, I've been in contact with anybody that will take a moment to listen to what we have going on. It's been a lot of work. I am currently running a business that was closed down due to the pandemic. We were basically shut down to nothing. But I am very passionate about this cause. I'm very passionate about what we're doing. I feel like the 2.5 million of you that have supported me get all my love. I'm going to push for you to make sure that your voice is heard. You guys have a good night, and we'll see you next time.